University, East Bay, and he is doing a lot of interesting work in cryptography, and so he'll be talking to us about that topic. Massoud, do you have any visuals?
Yeah, he's going to help me. Set it up for you. The big one?
Yes.
You do that.
No. Oh, this is
No,
full
but
screen.
there is another one. Can you remember? Yeah, I think Microsoft one. Remember the big one? Can you?
I'll figure it out.
I think there is another file. Remember the other one was Microsoft Word?
Yes, I
remember
don't
the
have
big
it
one.
here.
This was big. Can you put it in?
I think
It's okay. Yeah.
I think it's easier just to display it correctly like it was before.
Okay,
Like
that's good. That's good. And then I just do this. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Are we ready? Okay, are we ready?
Yeah. Okay. 25 years ago, I started teaching coding theory. So first,
Massoud has begun.
okay. 25 years ago, I started teaching coding theory. Let me explain the difference between coding theory and cryptography. Coding theory, when the spacecraft takes a picture of Jupiter, sends it to NASA, every pixel has a color and every color has a number. They change it into 0, 1, binary numbers. And everybody can see those pictures. But when Pentagon, the Defense Department, takes pictures, now the picture is not, they use cryptography. You need a key to open the door and to look at the picture. So that's the only difference between both cryptography and coding theory. So 25 years ago, when I was teaching cryptography, nobody knew about that field. And I had many people from Silicon Valley companies. They were coming to my class to listen and to learn about this. So I'm going to explain about coding theory, but cryptography is just you have the key. Otherwise, it's the same thing. So the first cryptography, was Egyptians in 1900 BC. They had, they used cryptography, and Mesopotamia, Babylonians, they used cryptography. And Julius Caesar used a ciphering, shifting ciphering. Means in his private letters, not in official letters. He replaced A with D, for instance, and then B became what? E, and Z became C, and so on. So he wrote those things. This is called Caesar ciphering. This is an old one, very simple. But now I like to. So now I'm going to explain about how the ISBN, the ISBN at the back of the book, you have a 10-digit number. I'm going to show you how the ISBN works. So here there is a book that I put it on I took it from Amazon. And before talking about ISBN, I want to tell you about error correcting code. When your friend, calls you on the cell phone and says, "My rat ate the cat," you detect the errors and correct it. You know that she or he meant what? My cat ate the rat. All right? So now the ISBN, the first digit is 9. 9 is not 0, which means what? 9 is not English, Spanish. So this book is Spanish. Then there are, in this case, there are 3 digits. That means the publisher, if you're a well-known publisher, you have a smaller number. Then there are some other digits that they classify. In every publishing company, they classify those on the subject and so on. And the last digit 9 is parity check digit, which means a check to see if you enter right or not. So last Tuesday, I'm teaching an abstract algebra course. I gave this number, but I replaced 7 with X, because you can detect one error and correct it. So I told my students, next week, I want you to give me the name of the name of the book and the name of the author. So that's their assignment. So if someone with 11 fingers could decipher that. When you say 5 plus 7, you raise only what? 2 fingers. Am I right? You have 10, then you do it. With 11 fingers, you say what? You raise only 1 finger. It's called base 11. So if you want me, I could explain it later. Okay, here I go. Now I want to talk about cryptography used in Second World War. Alan Turing, he was the greatest mathematician, and he was the leader of a British mathematician, that they deciphered the Enigma machine. Enigma machine was designed, invented in 1918 by Germans. And they used it, and the first time someone deciphered, the proper code was a Polish guy. I forgot the name. But so they designed a machine which is called bomb machine. Actually, they claim that the bomb machine shortened the war by 2 years. And I'm going to explain how it works. In 1952, Turing was tried, arrested because he was homosexual. And instead of putting him in jail, they said, okay, for 1 year, we inject you with hormone to make you impotent. And he got that, and then he died the next year. Some people say because of the hormone. We don't know that. Now let me explain how the Enigma machine works. All right, you know that colors or alphabets and so on, we can always replace A with 1, B with 2, and so on. And sometimes we need a space, and that's 0. Now you don't have to replace it with 1, you can replace it with 472, and B with 815. All right, but here I'm going to make a simple one. So let's say this is cryptography. I want to send you Y's, W-A-I-S. W is the 23, A is 1, I is 9, and S is what, 19. Now I'd like to talk about a matrix. This is what I do. A matrix, somehow the PDF. A matrix is a table of numbers, like 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, has 2 rows or maybe 10 columns or whatever. In this case, which you can't see, the matrix is a 2 by 2 A. And then I display next to it the inverse of the matrix. Alright? So, oh, here, okay, yeah. Right. This is, you see that A, this is 3, 1, and then you put the 2 below 3. So you put this 2 here, and this one goes there. So that's the matrix. I don't know what happened. Okay, so there are some parts that are missing. So what do I do with the 23? Where is that? Yeah, here. Look at the 20. Yeah. Okay, I have 23, 1, 9, 19. I break it into 2 vectors, 23, 1 and 9, 19. Then I multiply this 23, 1 by this matrix A, and 9, 19 also by A. I get those numbers, 71, 24. Now I'm going to send you the matrix A. That's the key. And you know how to find B. So what you do, and then I send the whole, the 71, 24, 9, 19 to you. Your job is what? To break it into 2 vectors, multiply by B, and you end up with 23, 1, 9, 19, which is wise. Here you decipher the message. The Enigma machine had dealt with a 51 by 51 matrix. Huge. Trust me. It takes, even with today's computer, it takes many computations to figure out what kind of matrix they use. And the bomb machine took care of that. Now, like this is the main topic that I'm working on, that cryptography using Pythagoras theorem. Before Pythagoras, there was no mathematics. They had numbers, they knew how to add, multiply, that's all. Pythagoras looked at a right-angled triangle and came up with the first theorem. He invented mathematics. So we have mathematics thanks to, and some people in Greeks, they say that he was half God, half human, Pythagoras. But it happens that what? 1,000 years before Pythagoras, Babylonian, they had tablets that talks about those triangles. So, and then Plato, okay, I like to talk about PPT, which is primitive Pythagorean triangle. 3 and 4, they are co-prime, which means what? The only number that divides 3 and 4 is what? 1. All right? Okay, then 15 and 8. 15 and 8 is what? Prime, co-prime. They are co-prime. The only number that divides both 15 and 8 is 1. So those, I didn't put all the letters. Those are the triangles generated by Plato in 350 BC. I use this one because, so I came up just a few months ago with a small matrix that can generate everything. And it's interesting, I'll show you. Then Euclid came and gave a formula for everything. So now I have 1 with, for A, it generates 3, 4, 5. Notice that what? 3 squared plus 4 squared is 5 squared. 9 plus 16 is 25. But Pythagoras came up with this formula. That if you have a triangle, ABC, A squared plus B squared is C squared. Garfield, President Garfield, before being president, used a trapezoid to prove that. At 12, Einstein came up with a very simple proof. There are a dozen proofs, about Pythagorean theorem. I remember when I was in junior high, we had to learn how to prove these things. So here I generated all the letters with triangles. Like A is what? 3, 4, 5. B becomes what? 15, 8, 17. Notice that what? Plato used the 2 and generated this 15. Then with 3, you generate 35, 12, 37. There is something in common among those numbers. All right, 3 is the odd leg, 4 is even leg, and 5 is the hypotenuse. You see the difference between 3 and 5 is what? 2. How about between 15 and 17? 2. Do you see that? The difference between the odd leg and hypotenuse is always 2. Now, because of Plato, I can generate with a difference 9, it's 18, 8, or whatever. Okay? So you have infinitely many choices. So do I really need to keep the 5? No, because I know if I give you the 3, then the hypotenuse is going to be what? 5. If I give you 15, then the hypotenuse is going to be what? 17. Alright? So I want to use Pythagoras triangle, but at the same time, I don't want a hacker like Snowden to know about that. So I only say what? 3 and 4. It happens that I came up with a formula that you don't even need 4. You only need 3. So what is special about that? Now I'm combining cryptography, coding theory, and data compression. Data compression means what? When a movie, for 1 second, there are 24 frames. The difference between the first frame and the second frame is what? There are only a few pixels are different. So you don't want to display, you don't want to use the whole thing. You just give the second frame only the difference, the third one the difference, and so on. So you compress. That's why you can watch Netflix on your computer or on your TV. That's the data compression. I have many people from companies in Silicon Valley coming to about data compression because they didn't have. There's no such a course. Now they read papers, and that's what they do. So now you see that. Okay, one more thing I want to say, that A, the last 3 digits, 3, 4, 5. For B you have 15, 8, 7, 17. So I keep 5, 8, 7. So there are 5 classes. Only 5 classes. A, like F, the last digits of F are what? 3, 4, 5. Maybe it's 43, 74, 20, 25. Alright, and so on. So those are important because of the parity check that I said, about the 9, that you check to see if it's what? It's right, or I entered the correct code or not. So I need those. Now here, the A now changes into what? 3, 4, 5. These 4 and 5, those are parity check digits. Because I want to know in which class it is, A, 3 comes from. Remember, I don't need the 4, I don't need the 5, but I need the class in order to put them in the class A, and 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 1. So this is a compressed alphabet with parity check digits. I need 2 digits. So as you see that, so if you want to make a very complicated, in cryptography, if you want to make it very complicated, instead of assigning 1 to A, you assign 4,372. And you have a table that you know that whenever I get this number is an A. And one more thing, let me now explain about the NSA and the RSA code cryptography. 21 is the product of what? 3 and 7. 3 and 7 are prime numbers. You know about prime numbers? A prime number is a number that is divisible by 1 and it's 7. Now you see that 4 is not a prime number because it's a product of 2 and 2. Right? How about 17? Can you find a number less than 17 that divides 17? The only number is what? 1. Alright? So, the RSA, that's the code that actually, no, we don't have a proof. And that's what NSA and all those people they use. There is no proof. They came up with what? Instead of 21, imagine you have what? A number with 640 digits, which is the product of 2 prime numbers. In 1997, they created numbers, RSA numbers, with 100 digits, and they put price for them. And some of them they were discovered and solved by people, and they got it. It started at $50 all the way to $200,000. Then in 2004, I think, they stopped because, and they destroyed all the hardware and everything because they didn't want them. So in the Philippines, a few years ago, the Time magazine had an article that someone from Philippines came up with a proof how to break this code.
I love you, Margaret.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love you.
Yeah, and then a few weeks later, that was over. And people think, maybe he was, killed or something. You don't want to prove it. So that's why I do coding today, not cryptography. I like my life. So, but this is something new, but it's not known. I'm working on this problem for 2 years, and when John sent me an email saying, would you like to come? I said, first of all, I'm busy working on my research paper, and I'm discovering something very interesting. And he said, why don't you present that? So I know it's not very interesting. It's not Spain or democracy. And I know some of you are bored, and you are welcome to take a break. But anyway, so let's go back. Now, suppose, please, now I show you how to decode. Okay, 211537. It happens that what? There is no, the 537 is not a class. That means what? There is an error. Alright? Remember my dad ate the cat? Alright? A cat? So, but 527 is 1. So I know that I have to look at the class 527. That's why I need the parity check. And then, I don't know, I have to go back. Okay, let's see if we have 2157. Do I have 2157? Yes. You see that? W. But it's not 3727, so I say, okay. It should be, because now if you have large numbers, those classes are very, big numbers, so you know which classes. You don't even have to ask for retransmission. You don't have to. You have to ask your friend to repeat. All right. Remember the Voyager. And the Voyager that I was working at that time for NASA. So you can't ask Voyager to send you back the pictures that it took before, because it takes maybe 10 months to get the response. All right. So the first one now I decoded as a W. 345 is it correct? No.
Yes.
Is an A. How about 32465? Let's see. 32465. Okay, you see the I?
Yes.
All right, but the 65, I know it's in the class of 65. But what is the next number close to 323? 325. So if the gap is huge, then I'm 100% sure that what? No, 100% that this is the letter that they sent me. Here, so this is what you can decode that. So finally, the last one, there are errors, but it's going to be S. So the message was what? W-A-I-S. Now, can you guess the name of the book? The author is here. He's very important. He's the
It's a
most
real page turner. You can't look down.
He's the most important person in this. He's guilty of charge. Do you remember this book?
I do remember, yeah.
And that's so. Tuesday, my
There's
students.
a copy available at Shipman Library here on campus.
So students that have to give me your name on Tuesday.
I'm touched, thank you.
If they don't, so they lose some points. That's it. I wanted to be brief. He said to be brief. Do you have any questions?
What specifically this Pythagorean cryptography, would it, if you envision it providing a new level of security for,
No.
I'm thinking
No,
internet,
as I said,
commerce, things like that.
because for the last 30 years, they're using RSA, like 21, remember? So I did some research that maybe 200 years from now, they're going to use my machine. So I'm not worried if they're going to use it now. But this is a new way of looking at what? A completely new way of looking at the cryptography and knowledge. And from the first theorem, the human history, the Phythagoras theorem was the first theorem. It created mathematics. So I remember I was talking to someone at Berkeley, and he said, "That's the baby. Why are you working on Phythagoras? This is a very basic thing." And I said, "Yes, but the nice thing about that is not many people are interested. So I'm lucky. But publishing paper in mathematics is extremely difficult. In our department, most professors, they don't publish. And some of them, they stay assistant professors because they don't publish. And remember, I was doing numerical analysis, and there is a thing about norm, magnitude or something. I noticed that one guy changed the norm. You drive in France, you deal with kilometers. Here you have to deal with miles. But the length is the same, doesn't matter usually. So I saw that guy changed 6 times this norm. So I told myself, there is something wrong. I want to know. So I started studying norms and discovering things. And then I presented a paper. And now the theorem is called Malek's theorem. and I got they wanted me to referee papers on norm, which I didn't know anything before. So I became an expert because nobody cared. So this is the same thing. I don't know if they are going to use it, or even if they are going to read it, but at least I can say I published.
One of the many things we have in common is kind of like when you're an expert on Elias Castelnuovo, nobody cares.
And that's good.
Next conference, I'll talk about him exclusively. I'd like to introduce Dr. Seth Knox, who is my colleague at, in the language department here at Adrian. He's a professor of German and also the chair of our department.
I have a quick question. Obviously you're not talking about everything involved in your research here, but I'm not a cryptologist, and what the algorithms that I use in the lab, AES or Twofish, they always try to introduce an element of randomness in cryptography. So I'm assuming you're
No, yeah, randomness means you control the random.
Right.
In this case, I don't assign 1 for A, and I'm not going to use beta. I have my matrix that I came up 3 months ago. It creates any type you want. You enter number, I don't know what I'm talking. But you say, okay, I want this 5 or 472. Then they say, okay, what number do you want to generate after that? Oh, you need two numbers. I would say, okay, 452 and 876. Then you can generate the whole set. The whole set of A, B, C, and so on. So you make it random and you have the control. There is no such a thing as a random number. You give a seed, and this seed creates. You have to control the seed. So yes, it is controlled random number. Yeah.
Yeah, Roman.
Maybe a little bit off the topic of your algorithm, but do you see quantum mechanics used in cryptography to ultimately create unbreakable ciphers?
Okay. Basically, there are a lot of cryptography is something that has they don't even have the proof, they don't know. If someone send me an email saying that we talked to someone and they say there is a proof. But again, I don't know. And the problem is in cryptography, someone wants to write a paper and come and say, well, my result can help cryptography. But when you ask, what do you do? They say it's used in cryptography. And this way they publish it because they say, wow, this is a good paper. So he needs a promotion, so he's going to get it. I think, I'm sorry to say, there's many BS.
You mentioned death threats. Have you personally received death threats?
No, because I'm in coding theory. You see that the picture of Jupiter, everybody can look at that. I'm not working for the defense. All right, so the coding theory, by the way, the first thing that I explain in cryptography is the credit card number. And then 15 years ago, I could teach my students how to create a credit card number. I could have been very rich. You know what they did? They came up with the expiration date. You remember before they didn't ask me that. And then they computed those 3 digits. Or 40. Those are after that, I said, okay, forget about making money. Okay. But it's very simple. I teach them how to generate credit card numbers. So I didn't react in time.
John, last question.